Congratulations, you've discovered the lost level.
Hey guys, and welcome to episode 78 of The Lost Level. I'm Adam.
And I'm Chris.
And I'm Alex.
We've got a couple segments coming at you this week on our podcast. We're going to talk about some movies we saw. Then we're going to transition into some game and movie news.
Yeah. This week we're going to be talking about Robocop and 300 Rise of the Empire.
Ooh, 300.
300. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Well, Robocop's older, so I say we should take
Yes.
that one first.
All right.
That would make sense, right? Chronologically.
Fair enough. That works.
It's been out for a little while.
That means I gotta drink my whiskey while you guys talk.
Alcoholic.
All right. So Adam and I had the opportunity to watch Robocop this week. I know it's a couple of weeks late, but we finally got to watch it. And we wanted to share our thoughts with you. So, Robocop 2014. Initial thoughts?
It was better than I expected.
Okay. What'd you expect?
I went in with super low expectations of just utter crap.
All right, we talked about the trailers that we saw previously, and we kind of just were like, meh. But overall, I don't know. This is a new 2028 RoboCop. Alex Murphy is still the same person, but I don't know. Like, I don't even know how I want to begin this. Like, the story's pretty much identical to the original RoboCop.
Kind of. I mean, he's not a transfer in from, another department into Detroit. He's a part of the Detroit police, and he's got a partner, and they fight crime.
Yeah.
And they're straight cops versus crooked cops.
All right, I guess there is some differences, but where do you want to start? Do you want to start on the story? Do you want to start on...
Well, I mean, the theme is the same. Alex Murphy is a cop that gets almost killed in the line of duty, and the company OC, or CP, whatever, they decide to make a robot out of him because they're trying to sell robot security guards and police forces to the United States.
Right. So these police officers are all over the world, in every country except the U.S.
Because the U.S. has a law against them where they just don't want, the police to not have emotions and conscience and stuff like that.
Right. So there's a political struggle for the fight for robots to be policing us, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next idea that OCP has is to integrate a person into one of these robots, and in turn we receive Robocop.
All right. We originally kind of see the traditional suit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's shown in, I guess, like a board meeting, and they say that they wanted to go a little bit sleeker, a little bit more badass. But it was a cool touch on the 1980s version of the suit because it's literally that suit is shown. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. And then obviously sleeker means stealthier, which means black.
Yeah, because cool things are black and shiny.
So you have to have a black suit. Robocop is a black suit in this one. And I don't know, like, I have mixed feelings about this movie. I really do. Like, I don't even know how I want to talk. I don't even know where I want to begin with it. It's like,
are you trying not to hate on it? Is that what you're trying to do?
I'm trying not to hate on it necessarily, but
hate on it if you have to, dude. That's totally cool.
But I was bored watching this movie. Like, I just felt the whole entire time as I was watching this movie, I was like, why is this made and why am I watching this? Because I liked the original RoboCop. There was nothing wrong with the original RoboCop. It was a perfect time for the RoboCop in the 1980s. It lived in that era of crazy action, blood everywhere, like just obscene craziness movies, and that was cool. Now we're getting remakes of these movies, and like RoboCop 2014 just falls into that whole "why was this movie made" category.
It feels like it pulls its punches, right? It doesn't have that oomph that the originals have.
It was very toned down.
Yeah. I mean, it's a PG-13 movie, and the original RoboCop was bloody as hell. I mean, that that was RoboCop. That was cool back in the day. We got to see the excessive blood and the excessive gore. Speaking of which, we'll talk about 300 next, and we'll talk about the excessive gore and blood in that one. But this RoboCop was just kind of generic piece, PC, PG-13. There was nothing exciting about it. The action scenes kind of felt boring. There was nothing new to it. I mean, they tried to incorporate a story into like how RoboCop is and trying to give him emotion and trying to control him.
Yeah.
You see that in the extended trailers before this movie came out, but I didn't care about the character necessarily. I felt like the person who played Alex Murphy, RoboCop, was just a paint-by-numbers actor. Like, he was nothing special where he gave me a performance that made me care about the RoboCop character. And for this to work, I felt like you needed that to happen.
See, I kind of disagree with you.
Okay.
By no means is this a masterpiece of modern cinema, but I thought that this RoboCop was, as a character, a little bit more likable than the original.
Okay.
I think mostly due to the fact that he doesn't really get killed in this movie. In the first movie, he's pretty much killed, and they bring him back to life as this machine thing. He doesn't remember who he is. In this movie, he knows exactly who he is, and he wakes up inside of this robot suit, right? And I thought that was a cool little concept that they had with the conflict of him not really wanting to be in that state. He didn't want to be alive. He's like, they try to kill me. I don't want to be half man, half machine. And then it's after that they start, drugging him up and trying to make him into this stoic, just by the book cop.
Mm-hmm.
So much more of a machine than a man.
Exactly. They tried to take the man out of it. Like, they were only using the human portion of him as, like a poster child for, hey, this is what police is going to be like. But he's not actually making any decisions for himself.
Yeah, they want to basically swing the political favor into their arms. Like, okay, look, we put a man into a suit, a robotic suit, and now he's policing at an efficient rate that more than human cops can do. And that way they can push their bills across it and prove their points to have robots policing us in America as opposed to the rest of the world. But I don't know. Like, overall, I mean, I think there's good performances. Like, I didn't think necessarily the person Joel Kinnaman, who played RoboCop, or Alex Murphy, didn't really care about him. But like, Gary Oldman plays one of the doctors in there.
He was awesome.
And he was
That's
awesome.
Gary Oldman for you. I mean, name a bad Gary Oldman.
Even Jackie Earle Haley, who plays a role in this movie, was actually pretty good. I didn't care. I thought Alex's partner in this was the stereotypical angry black cop.
Yeah.
Where there's like, his lines were like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like, I didn't care about his character. Like, whatever. And then Samuel L. Jackson, who is playing the person who's on TV talking about like trying to sway the U.S. vote and very biased.
He's basically like a propagandist.
He's very propaganda. He's very Fox News-ish.
Yeah.
Type of like commentator, and like, I don't care about him. Like, I just there's so many things I didn't like about this movie. It was just boring.
I'll agree it's not a great movie. Is it worth seeing eventually? I'd say wait for a Redbox it for $1. I didn't hate it as much as you. I thought it was, for what it's worth, as a standalone movie, I thought it was okay.
Okay.
In comparison to the other RoboCop movies, not so hot.
Okay. I don't hate this movie. I left the theater thinking, why was this even made? And
You're just underwhelmed by it all.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I don't hate it. I don't like it. I just, it's like, okay, whatever.
It's like with all the remakes these days. I mean, it's
Yeah.
still like, why are you making this? And it doesn't really leave a lingering feeling with you at all.
I feel like if you're going to take a property and remake it, then make a vision that is creative and something fresh and something new to the era. I think a lot of times now where we're seeing sequels and these remakes and stuff, they're so far distanced from their original that we don't care about these properties nearly as much as we used to. Whereas if we would have saw them earlier or something, maybe it could have been attached to that. But
Much
now,
like a other movie we're going to discuss, possibly.
right, and very much so. I completely agree. And we'll talk about that, Alex, and we'll talk about that regarding 300 Rise of the Empire. But with RoboCop, it's like just leave it in the 80s, man. Like, it's a dated idea. They try to jazz it up a little bit to make it more relevant to modern times, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't translate very well. And I left the theater not caring.
Fair enough.
So, do you have any like final say on it?
No, I mean,
you're a little bit different than I am. You enjoyed the flick for the most part.
I took it with a grain of salt. You know, I didn't mind it by any means. It's like I said earlier, it's not a great movie. Is it a must-see? Far from. But for what it's worth, I kind of had a good time with some of the action scenes. I liked the updated mechanics of RoboCop himself. He wasn't just like this slow, brooding machine, you know. Mm-hmm. He was moving around fast. He's running, he's riding a motorcycle, and he's flying through the air, fighting ED-109s or whatever those guys are, the giant robots.
So he's not just a tank.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, and he's not completely invulnerable. They say that, you know, any bullet over 50 caliber will kill him. I liked...
A 50 caliber bullet is pretty damn big.
Yeah, so you like... I don't know, I mean, I really enjoyed how they showed what's left of Alex. I won't go into too much detail if anybody's going to watch it, but Alex Murphy is far from an entire man when they open up the suit and they show him what is left of him after the accident, and I thought that was pretty badass. Mm-hmm. Like I said, watch it when it comes out to Redbox. It's kind of fun, you know. Just if you enjoy the first movie, just see it to kind of see the references to the original and the nods. I'd say 1.5 stars out of 4, maybe.
Yeah, God, I didn't even think about my rating, to be honest with you. Like, I was so indifferent about this movie. I guess 1.5 is an accurate one.
Yeah.
1.5 out of 4. Just think, whatever. It shouldn't exist, and doesn't necessarily have to exist, but it does, and it's out there. So, Redbox it, I guess, for $1.
So exciting.
I'm so indifferent about this movie. Like I said, man, I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. It's there. It exists. And speaking of the next movies, why don't we talk about 300: Rise of the Empire real quick?
Yes.
Opening thoughts?
It's there and exists. Like it's there. It's probably 8 years too late that it was made.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know. It's underwhelming, to say the least. It's basically about another battle going on while the Spartans are fighting the Persians, essentially.
You know what? Honestly, I did like that aspect to it.
That was cool.
This movie takes place before the 300 battle in the original 300. It happens during that battle and then after that battle. So it kind of 300, the original movie, falls in between the events of this movie.
Yeah, essentially. And I mean that's cool. It gives you a different perspective that, you know, there were these other Greeks trying to fight the Persians as well. It wasn't just, you know, these 300 Spartans against everything. You know, there was some assistance there. But even then, it just feels removed from the main story. It's in some sense like like it just doesn't have the impact or like the sense of the dire situation going on at all. It's
not as dramatic as what you're saying.
No, not at all. The plot just seemed kind of there. Like, it's okay, there's these Persians, let's fight them. Okay. Like, you know, you didn't get it wasn't as dramatic.
They tried to add drama to it because of, like, in the original 300, you have the Spartans who are all about dying for honor, and that's pretty much their focus. Mm-hmm. They want to die in battle, essentially. And then you have now a different Greek, you know, other Greeks, where they're kind of more of a brotherhood. They're type of more of... They're
about preserving democracy and freedom.
Yeah, so you have this kind of completely different dichotomy of, like, the way they fight. They care about their one another more, I would say, as opposed to, like, dying in battle. They're more about trying to preserve the person right next to them and making sure that they're caring more about them. Alice is kind of looking at me kind of weird.
I felt, you know, the first one is still that brotherhood of you're fighting alongside your brother. You know, you're going to try to protect them. You're going to fight with them. Yes, it is honorable to die in battle, but they're Spartans that are not going to just fucking give up in battle and die. You know, they're still going to fight their hearts and still going to try to save one another. So I don't feel like it was.
Okay, maybe I'm phrasing that wrong. Like I guess this one
it's more of a group effort. I guess it's more of a fight for an ideal rather than the preservation of their society.
Yeah, it's that, and that's also they make it a point to tell the audience basically like, hey, these people are scholars. These people are like potters, like farmers, and they're not necessarily
they're not the brutes. The Spartans are. They're forward thinkers. They are
right.
They're artisans in a sense.
Right.
They're politicians.
They're not bred for battle,
Right.
so to speak. So like these people are not warrior.
And you see that they do get kind of fucked up more than the Spartans do.
Yeah, I mean they're not warriors like the Spartans are, but it's interesting. Like there's some good concepts in this movie that I walked away with. Like I kind of liked what they did with some of this stuff.
Yeah. There are some scenes which I really enjoyed. Like when the main guy goes to see the chick on the boat, like that was a really interesting scene, and not for the reason you think, but I mean what that represented, you know, the kind of like the struggle for power in a different sense, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean this is a naval battle. You know, this battle does not necessarily happen on land like 300 does. This is all pretty much on boats, and and what we're going to see there. It's what do you think about the main character?
He's kind of like a Boy Scout. Like there wasn't much to him. I mean, there wasn't like any huge flaw. It was just him being like
Theophilus? I can't say his. I watched the movie and I can't remember his name.
Yeah, it's some weird long Greek name.
I am really bad with the Greek names.
It's
well, names in general, but when
most
you put a
people are,
Greek
yeah.
name, it's really bad. But Theophilus?
Theophilus.
Just call him Theo.
Okay, Theo for short, just because I'm really bad with Greek names, and I apologize for that. But Theo,
Yeah.
he was very Boy Scout-ish, kind of cookie cutter, noble hero type of person.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of go into a little bit of how he has like all this weight of guilt on his shoulders about, you know, how all these lives are kind of resting on his decisions and decisions that he's made in the past. I don't want to go into too much detail about that, but you know how a decision he made in the past, you know, potentially cost thousands, tens of thousands of lives, and it's like, I mean, they kind of go into that a little. It'd be interesting if they explored that more, but like, they don't offer a lot of character development, I don't think.
They kind of do in regards to Xerxes, who was the god Persian, the Persian
king.
god, the
king.
god king in 300,
Well,
which we kind of see his beginnings.
yeah, you
In
kind of
this
see
movie-
the origin of him. You see his origin story.
Yeah, you see his origin story, and then you kind of see where he is at the beginning of it, during his battle with the mighty 300, and then you kind of see the aftermath of him after the 300. And
You also get a very different view of him, I think. He seems less threatening and foreboding. He almost seems kind of like a joke in some instances, I feel.
they kind of play it that way just because of Eva Green's character. She is this mighty admiral who is a Greek herself, but thrust out upon the Persians, and she kind of just takes on this Persian aura. Like, she loves the Persians, she respects the Persians more than she kind of like denounces all of her Greek heritage.
yeah.
And she is this. She what makes the movie, basically. She is this movie.
Yeah. I mean, she is definitely the most interesting part about this movie.
You care about this character because like you love to hate her. And she's just the most interesting, I would say, out of all the characters you have there.
She's brutal. She's ruthless, and she's just kind of a badass.
Yeah, I mean, she is such a badass that you have Theo going to the Spartans before, and during, and after, like asking the Spartans, like, "Hey, we need a unified Greek. or Greece, and we need your help. We can't do this alone, obviously, and we need to unify. And as bold as the Spartans are, they're just kind of like, we're doing our own shit. So it's an interesting story in that regard, and I kind of like that aspects to it. But this movie feels dated now. As Alice kind of put it, it would have been a good follow-up to 300 if it was made a year or two after 300 came out.
And especially how closely the stories are kind of linked together, especially time frame wise. While you kind of have 300 fresh in your mind, you kind of see how all the time points line up.
Yeah, I mean, and even now, I mean, like when you think about it, because you have returning characters. You have Lena Headey, who is the queen, obviously, in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
She returns for this movie, and I mean, they're 8 years older now.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be playing before, during, and after the events of 300. It doesn't necessarily show age during that, but like...
And if there was, they could easily
CGI.
cover it up with CGI or makeup.
Right. I think my problem with it is it's... The way that the original 300 was filmed, obviously with Zach doing the slow-mos every single time he possibly can, which was new and innovative back then. Now you're seeing it after so many other movies kind of carbon copied that whole entire thing.
It's not innovative anymore.
You kind of just like, come on, seriously? Yeah. Every single slash of a sword, every single moment has to be slow-moed and dissected and blood splattered everywhere. There's so much blood in this movie.
Oh my god.
It's so ridiculous.
And I feel like it's even more cartoonish than it was in the original.
It is. It completely is, and you're kind of just looking at it.
I think that does not work in its favor in any regard either.
No.
The CGI work in this one is not as good as it was in the original.
And
there are some scenes that were just kind of cringe-worthy, honestly. Like just the compositing of the lighting and everything just does not work right.
In the third act, especially
the very end, yeah,
it's almost like they held it together, like the budget for 2/3 of this movie, and then by the third act of this movie, they're like, all right, we ran out of budget for our CGI. And it got really sloppy, and it got really lazy. So their CGI was bad. It got bad,
which is sad to say because I mean, the story of 300 was cool. I mean, it's the story that's been told, but what really, drove the original 300, what drove people to that theater is the incredible visualing style of it all, and that's what the draw is going to be for this movie. But when you fuck that up, it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, this is a different twist on the story, new take on it, but still.
Yeah, it's not very. It's okay. Why don't we wrap it up? Final thoughts on this?
It's. I didn't hate the movie by any means. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I didn't leave it with a great impression on myself. It's once again, I feel like it's something you could just kind of get at Redbox or watch on Netflix when it comes out. It's not going to be a waste of time. You'll still enjoy it. There's some cool scenes. There's some good laughs in it, actually. I'm going to say 2 out of 4.
Okay. Yeah, if you like, the bravado of 300, it's still here. You like the slow-mos, you'll get half hour's worth of that just in slow-mos. You'll get blood splattered everywhere. You'll get the cheesy over the voiceovers, the really bad writing.
The narrating.
Yeah. You have all of that from the original 300 all in this film. So if you liked all of that, you will like this film. I think Eva Green, if you like her, she plays kind of like herself. I mean, she always kind of typecasts into these badass roles.
I can't even think what else I've seen her in, honestly.
She played in Camelot, where she played like this evil witch on the Showtime show that lasted 1 season. She played in Casino Royale.
Okay, yeah.
She's been in a lot of movies, and she's always been like the seductress kind of bitch, and she plays it. She plays it really well. I mean, she plays that character really well, and And this movie is no different. Like, she is this movie.
Yeah.
If you like her as an actress, I think you'll dig this movie.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
And for me personally, I do like her pretty much. But I was, again, this kind of movie falls into that category, like it didn't necessarily need to be made. And they leave it open enough to the point where they can make sequels off of this if it makes box office success. I could see them doing that, and I think that it'd be a smarter move if they tried to do that to make it 1 or 2 years after this movie comes out, not 8 years later.
Yes.
Because that was a huge mistake for this one.
I think it's pushing 40 mil for the weekend right now. So,
40 mil?
Yeah.
Which isn't good. I mean, it's not huge blockbuster numbers.
Right. I'm sure that's less than what the budget was, too.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, they ran out of budget in the third act. But yeah, I am like right where you are, where it's 1.5 stars, 2 stars. Final review. I don't want to be put on the spot. I'm gonna go 1.5.
Oh, fair enough.
I'll go 1.5 out of 4. Again, it didn't need to necessarily be made. I wasn't really like into it. Like, it's not a great movie to sit through. I guess it's a popcorn flick.
It is a very popcorn flick. Like,
it's something to watch once and like, forget about it.
I mean, I guess it's something you would kind of want to see on the big screen, just because it does have that visual appeal for the. Did you see 3D?
That's a good point. You know what? I saw this movie in 3D because of the scheduling and the timing, and that was the only option I had available for me. So I did watch it in 3D, and it didn't blow me away by any means. It was, obviously a post-converted film.
There, everyone's half-assing the 3D nowadays because I feel like they're over the 3D.
Well, that and they're abandoning the technology. I mean, when you're looking at it from the TV, the home theater department, they're looking at the 4K. They're trying to force down 4K down your throat, or even these curved TVs, as we saw for the new LGs. They're not focusing on the 3D technology anymore. So 3D is kind of an afterthought, and if they can get a couple extra bucks out of you at the movie theaters, they're going to do it. Mm-hmm. So this movie was kind of just forgettable in 3D. I wouldn't recommend seeing it in 3D. It was nothing special.
That doesn't. Yeah, there's nothing surprising about that statement to me.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on, guys.
All right,
it's been a long discussion for those two movies that were both apparently very mediocre.
Yeah, which is disappointing. Like,
but we're around that time of the season where movies are just being mediocre. The Oscar push is done. We're just waiting for the summer blockbusters now. It's always happens around this time of year.
Well, January is always the worst for movies. January is notoriously bad for movies. Anything that's released in January is kind of, you take it for a grain of salt. But now we're in March now, so I kind of want to see
Captain America's next month.
A little bit better movies. Yeah.
Okay.
So Captain America, hopefully I won't be shitting on that movie like I've been shitting on a lot of movies lately. I feel like I've been shitting on way too many movies lately.
It's because you don't like movies.
I want to like movies.
No, it's because movies have been worthy of shitting on. The buzz they're getting is not deserved.
Like, I was going in...
We've seen the same movies pretty much, and the movies we've liked, but the movies that are getting all the buzz are just like, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't talk about the Oscars.
I didn't even watch the Oscars.
See,
I'm a terrible person for that.
I guess
I didn't watch either. I don't think it makes either of us terrible.
No, all right, we won't talk about the Oscars, but like I wasn't surprised by 12 Years a Slave winning the Oscars because that movie was just tailor made to win an Oscar. But I found that movie incredibly boring, and I didn't care for it very much at all.
Like there's a formula for winning the Oscars nowadays.
Well, there is absolutely a formula. You have to take those roles and take those chances with those movies. Otherwise, I mean, to get any Oscar consideration, obviously we're watching a lot of these movies that we talk about reviews on here. Robocop's not going to win an Oscar, or Rise of the Three Empire is not going to win an Oscar. But like, we like talking about them because that's kind of our audience is going to be like watching.
Yeah.
So we didn't care for those movies, which is kind of unfortunate. But like let's move on to something that I'm kind of passionate about in gaming news. The first story that we have about is the official announcement: Batman Arkham Knight trailer
back in the hands of Rocksteady.
Yes.
So like they're calling this like the official trilogy, I guess.
Yeah, they're completely ignoring Origin.
Origin wasn't bad. I enjoyed Origin. And no,
I didn't play it. Like, once I heard it wasn't going to be Rocksteady, I was like, You know what? I'm going to pass.
They did what Rocksteady did. I mean, they didn't really deter from it at all.
They copied Rocksteady's games.
Yeah, it pretty much felt like Arkham City, maybe a little watered down in some aspects, but I mean, the combat was still solid.
But it didn't do anything new like
No, it
this game is doing. You know, for example, being able to drive the Batmobile. It's going to be friggin' awesome. You know,
See, I don't care about that aspect to it.
using weapons while on the zip line, things like that. They're introducing a lot of cool new stuff in this
You're saying
game.
you don't care about, but once you get your hands on it, you may change your mind. You may actually find it really gratifying.
Yeah, and you run over some goons with your Batmobile. You're going to love it, dude.
All right, here, let me clarify. I think the announcement trailer for Arkham Knight was one of the best trailers I've seen for video gaming of all time.
Whoa.
I love this trailer. It's an absolutely amazing trailer. The voiceover, father to son, was absolutely amazing. It's something that hit every point. It's Rocksteady. I am fully on board. Do I care about the gimmicks of finally driving the Batmobile? No, not necessarily. I want to get back into the
You're just
Batsuit.
excited to play the game again.
I want to get back into the Batsuit in a Rocksteady game because I know they're going to treat me right. They're calling it like the trilogy. They're kind of forgetting about Origins, but hey, this is Rocksteady's trilogy. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I am all on board. So don't get like the misconception of me not necessarily caring about some aspects to it.
There's just aspects you care more about.
Right.
The draw is the fact that it's a true Rocksteady Batman Arkham game.
And that trailer is fucking awesome.
It's a good trailer.
How's the plot going to get tied up, you know, at the end? And we're just curious, I think, having seen this trailer. I mean, it's a Rocksteady Batman game. We all know there's going to be a ton of badassery, but we really just want to know why the villains are back. It's a year later, right? From what I've been reading, it's a year later after Arkham City.
Yeah.
And the whole city of Gotham now is being evacuated. So some serious shit is hitting the fan inside of Gotham. So
It never happens in Gotham. Everything's always so happy and sunshiny in Gotham.
exactly. Excitement is kind of at a boiling point for Chris, I know, and for myself as well, because I loved the first two Batman games, and man, October can't come fast enough.
Yeah, I'm really happy that this game is 2014. That's huge.
Yeah,
For me, that's
And
huge.
it's going to be next gen as well. Well, new gen. So
only.
it's-
Yeah, well, PC and current new gen. Yeah.
Well, PC. You can't really gen a PC.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm naming the platforms that it's going to be on.
Yeah. But
Yeah, so obviously
It's-
Xbox One, PS4, PC.
so there's going to be a lot of care into this.
It's gonna look beautiful. I can't wait for a next gen Batman. Like this is what I've wanted, and it's Rocksteady.
So
stoked.
it's Rocksteady.
It's Rocksteady.
Okay, it's Rocksteady.
Yeah, I'm stoked, man. Like,
And Kevin Conroy's back, so another reason to be excited.
That is good.
which makes sense. I mean,
I mean, just to wrap up the trilogy.
until they decide that like, hey, this made a lot of movies or a lot of money. Let's make another one.
Well, you know, the guys that did Origins are going to make another game afterwards, and you know they're going to do their own trilogy or whatever the case may be. They'll do a Batman Beyond or some shit. Who knows? But
I'd like a Batman Beyond game.
we all would. But we'd all like to see that from Rocksteady. So
I don't know. I'd be interested to see what another studio does. Like, obviously, Origins
It's going to be like the Infinity War Treyarch thing with Call of Duty. I feel if that's the case.
just bouncing back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they went Black Ops 2 when it was all future and ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right. So, Batman, we are all super excited about this 2014 October, you said?
October 14th is the tentative date right now. So nothing's set in stone, but makes sense. All the other Batman games were always October games.
Yeah.
Very
It's like
cool.
right around Halloween, and bats mix well with Halloween.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Huge news. Jack Tretton steps down from Sony's as Sony's president.
As the American CEO, yeah, that's crazy.
He's been doing it for almost 20 years. I think it was 17 years. Wow. So
I mean, you think Sony, you think Jack Tretton. I mean, every announcement, every presentation you've watched from like E3 and all the bigs, like you always think Jack Tretton talking.
He's been on board literally since day one, since the first PlayStation was announced. So, I mean...
So why do you think he's stepping down?
Man, there's a ton of speculation. It's hard to say, you know. Could be boredom. Could be he wants to retire. Maybe he's made enough money.
I wouldn't say it's boredom. Maybe it's exhaustion. I mean, running a huge company like that, it has to be really trying. And I mean, dude's getting older. I'm not saying he's ancient or anything, but I mean, he probably has a family and everything he wants to spend more time with. And, you know, just doing all this stuff for Sony is probably taking away from that. So he wants to go to a smaller company to focus on that. So he could, you know, still make money, but he's not, you know, it doesn't become his life. He could spend more time with the family or whatever. I mean, of course, speculation, but I mean, I feel like you see that type of stuff all the time in big businesses.
Yeah, I mean, he's done it for so long. He's done it successfully, too. I mean, it's not like he was a bad CEO where he was kind of just like phoning it in or whatever. Sony's had a lot of success over the years, and even now, PlayStation 4 is selling its ass off.
Yeah.
There's a lot of success behind the PS4. So, I don't know. It's going to feel weird watching the next
not
E3,
having E3, yeah,
and not seeing Jack on that stage talking about Sony.
He was always such a good public speaker, in my opinion. He kind of captivated you. He didn't kind of... I mean, well, every E3, there's always smoke blown up your ass with what they tell you.
But that's not Jack. I mean, that's as a whole.
Yeah, but he was believable. I mean, every single one of these announcers at one point or another is going to blow smoke up your butt, and that's just the way it is with E3. You know, 6 months later when a product actually comes out, it's going to be different from what they told you. Long story short. But what I'm trying to get to is he was always one of those guys that I actually listened to at these events.
He wasn't the Peter Monalou of these events.
Yeah.
Where
you didn't roll your eyes. Or
yeah, exactly. Like
okay, we got to hold hands in the next game. That's awesome.
Right. You know, when Jack was on stage, he demanded your attention, and you respected him for that. I think Sony, with the launch of the new gen, we've talked about it to death, where Sony played it perfectly from a business standpoint. Mm-hmm. The console wars between the Xbox One and the PS4. Jack lived it up with that. I mean, at E3, where they were just talking and kind of not necessarily bashing Xbox One, but they were just talking about like, hey, Sony's going to be this, they're not going to be doing that, kind of like what the other company's doing. And I really liked Jack. I thought he was a master at business, and he'll be missed. It'll be interesting to see how they move on after him.
It'll be interesting to see who takes his place.
Yeah. You know, speaking of no respect, or speaking of, yeah, I guess I should say no respect, GameStop.
Oh, jeez.
GameStop raises the prices on the PS4 camera because the supply demands it. Mm-hmm. You know, there's limited supply for the camera that came out for the PS4. It didn't come with the console, as we talked about, like the Xbox One, and it's a extra accessory that you need to buy. And it's kind of, I guess it's a little bit hard to find.
It's very hard to find. There's some places that are, like Amazon was even selling them for almost double the price. Not through Amazon directly, but third-party resellers.
Yeah, exactly. So now, GameStop's like, they can make an extra $10 off of this, so fuck it. We're going to raise the price $10 over retail. Really? Like, seriously, guys?
I don't think any of us are surprised. I mean,
it's just kind of one of those heavy sighs. Like, seriously, guys, like, what are you doing? Like, do you not get enough money from used games?
Well, maybe this is another sign of how much they're actually struggling with all of that, with digital being so strong nowadays.
I wouldn't say digital is necessarily strong and cutting into their profit margins nearly as much, but it's looming on the horizon. Yeah, I will say that.
Their stocks have been hit pretty hard in the past year, 2 years or so.
Yeah, but they've been...
That's because of all the bad publicity you're getting for shit like this.
Yeah, well, that's definitely...
But they're still making billions of dollars every year. They're still in the green by a lot.
Yeah.
every year because of used games, because of all that stuff, and we've talked about that to death. But like, come on, GameStop, seriously, $10 more just to charge more for
just
this
because it's literally just because.
thing? Yeah, you guys are being douches. Like, let's calm that shit down. If you want any respect from people who have common sense,
Yeah.
From actual gamers.
like, you want me to return to your stores.
It's not inviting people, that's for sure. That's if anything, it's pushing people away from
I mean,
from the brick and mortar GameStops.
GameStop's always had that reputation where if you want to buy a game, you want to go everywhere else possible. You would even go to a Walmart before you go to a GameStop, just because you don't want to be harassed by 30 different questions just buying a damn game.
I did that before. I did go to a Walmart to try to find a game because I did not want to go get GameStop. I went to like 5 or 6 different stores before I stopped into GameStop.
Right. I mean, you probably know more than not they'll have that product that you're looking for, but you just don't want to be like, do you want to pre-order this? Do you want to be part of our club? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? It's like, no, dude, just give me the fucking game and call it a day. You know? And like, they have that notorious reputation, and you don't want to deal with that shit. I don't want to deal with that shit, so I go to those games. I'm exactly like you, Alex. I'll go to Walmart before I go to GameStop to buy a game.
Actually, Chris, to interrupt you a little bit, you'll only go to Amazon.com.
Do you
All right.
go into physical stores anymore?
No. I think only to buy, like, bread and milk. That's it. If he could get that off of Amazon, he probably would, too.
All right, I do have an Amazon problem.
No, he has Peapod.
There you go.
I don't do Peapod yet. But yeah, I do shop a lot on Amazon just because it's convenient, man. Like, it's kind of nice waking up and like opening your front door and like, hey, there's exactly what I wanted at 11 a.m.
It's like Christmas is every day.
Yeah, and sadly, it's 3 or 4 times a week for me. But yeah, it's. I don't care about GameStop. I really don't like GameStop. I don't like any of their business practices. I don't like how they manipulate the gaming industry and how they have it kind of just clutched. And a lot of gaming companies are at their will just because of how GameStop power is in this industry. And I don't like that. So fuck you, GameStop, for raising the price $10 more on this.
Excuse me. I wasn't expecting that as your closing statement.
But $10 more, fuck you guys. I mean, that's bullshit. Moving on to movie news. Sam Raimi plans a Last of Us movie.
Well, he's producing.
Okay. He's producing a movie. But, like, what do you guys think about this?
I feel like this is another movie that falls in the category of, do we really need this?
We don't need it, but I personally am in the very
Well,
small
of course
boat
you
of people
are.
that want it.
Of course you are. I mean, but realistically, it stands so well on its own as just a video game that tells a great narrative. I don't feel that a movie format of it would translate that well.
I think it
Not
would.
necessarily translate that well, but won't have the same impact even.
Well, maybe you probably won't have the same character development, but I think visually, I think it would be a really cool movie to see. You know, almost, I picture it being like I Am Legend, but with more people and clickers. So, I generally dislike video game movies, but I'm such a fan of this property that I would really like to see it on the big screen. I'm in, like, the internet backlash is huge. It's going to suck. It's going to this and that, blah, blah. I'm like, hey, maybe it's not. I'm kind of excited. I kind of want to see it. You know, I'm ever the optimist with these things, so.
I don't think it's necessarily going to suck. Like, it has great source material to work from, and it has, a solid producer behind it. So, I mean, there is promise there. I just don't feel that it will live up to the game.
Well, there's no denying that. No video game movie has ever lived up to the video game. It's,
Street Fighter.
other than Street Fighter because of Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I was thinking Kylie Minogue.
And Kylie Minogue, yeah. Those two were what made the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Plus whoever played Blanca. Because Blanca was really cool.
Even the fan-made movies like Old Blanca is pretty amazing.
Anyways,
All right, sorry.
else
My
to say?
opinion. I'll give you my opinion on this. Okay. Chris's opinion on the official Last of Us movie. I have to agree with Adam, which I don't like doing very often at all.
You bastard!
I like the idea of a Last of Us movie more so than I would like an Uncharted movie. Because Uncharted is essentially Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider movie, all these adventure type movies that we've seen before. I feel that Last of Us gives us an opportunity to go into the post-apocalyptic world with different types of characters that we haven't necessarily seen before on cinema nearly as much. I mean, yeah, Last of Us, as you said, but that was more... It was a different story, and I think that they can do this. I think they can do it well. It's kind of like a popular genre right now.
Yeah.
Where I can see this being more of a commercial success as opposed to an Uncharted, because like Uncharted can kind of just fall by the wayside. Like, yes, you'll have the Uncharted popularity from gamers, but like other people who don't know the games will see the trailer for the next Uncharted movie. They're like, okay, like Sierra, so like National Treasure,
some boring action
Tomb
adventure.
Raider. Like you can like think in your head of like 5 or 6 movies that are kind of just like that action type adventure movie.
Yeah.
And you just like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm probably not going to see it.
In this, I picture translating as a drama/horror movie
with a teenage girl in it, which and if they portrayed it right and gave that mystery or that aura to it, like is that a
Hugh
father
Jackman's going to play Joel. Hugh
like,
Jackman's going to play
a
Joel.
father-daughter relationship? Like you don't know, and it could be kind of interesting. And you put that in a post-apocalyptic world, and I could see the potential for that. And I see that a lot more than I see a lot of the video game franchises that are trying to get made into the movies right now. So I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Okay. Like I said, I don't think I would mind seeing it. I just...
And did you watch the fan-made one
No, I didn't.
that was on YouTube?
There's a couple of them. They actually had a contest for the game before the game came out where people were submitting little short movies for it. So I saw a couple of those. I don't know if there's something else.
There was one that I watched that was really well done, and I don't remember it. Maybe I'll try to link it on the episode here. But it was really well done. It was like 10 minutes or something like that. My daughter actually showed me because she's a fan of The Last of Us, and she's like, "Oh, you got to watch this fan-made film." And like I watched it, I was like, "Damn, that's actually pretty damn good."
Yeah.
So there's potential here, and I wouldn't mind seeing it.
The source material is strong enough to warrant a movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I hate agreeing with you. Damn it, man. Okay, speaking of movies that we kind of talked about that have taken a long time to get made, Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. The first trailer was officially shown this week. Initial thoughts?
Awesome.
I mean, it feels weird that we talk about movies that are so far removed from the original source, but like I feel like I'm really excited for this one. Like
You are excited.
I am. I don't know.
Our studio audience is not excited.
Like, it's great source material once again, and I feel like it's such a fresh look on things. I mean, yeah, we've seen Sin City before, but I mean,
No other movie's done that.
exactly, and I feel and no movie's done it again.
Spirit?
No other movie that counts.
Yeah, and like. I don't know. I really love the first Sin City, and I want more. And I think it's a movie that begged for more. And I think that's the difference between 300 and 300 Rise of Empire is.
Nobody ever expected that sequel to 300.
Yeah, exactly. With Sin City, it was expected. You were waiting for it.
There was talk of a sequel like immediately after the first movie came out.
Exactly, and so finally we're getting it, and it's just kind of the anticipation's building onto this, and I'm really excited for it. I mean, it had a cool trailer as far as I'm concerned.
I was mixed about the trailer, to be honest.
Of course you were.
I know, I hate being cynical. Like, why am I that guy? But yeah, I was mixed. I love Sin City. love Sin City. I was one of the huge fans of it. I saw it multiple times in theaters. I re-dipped on
DVD to Blu-ray.
I've re-dipped. I think I bought 2 different versions of the Blu-ray. I bought the original version of Blu-ray, then I bought the DVDs. The original DVD, bought the extended one where it has all the stories broken out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I re-dipped the shit out of this movie because I love Sin City. I love what Frank Miller did with that. I love what Robert Rodriguez did with the actual movie adaptation to it. Loved every minute of it. And I really wanted the sequel. I wanted a David to Kill for right away. Now it's like, all right, it's so far removed. It's cool that it's coming out. I'll probably be more excited when I actually have it, or I'll be actually to see it in a theater. I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm back in Sin City. But right now, it's like, maybe a part of me is like, I wish this came out 6 years ago.
Well, I think we all wish it came out 6 years ago, but I'm just happy we're getting it.
That's true, and the majority of the cast returns.
And we're getting JGL, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, to the uninitiated.
Oh, Adam.
Come on, dude. He's like one of my favorite guys, pretty much ever.
We know. You want him to take over as Wolverine?
I wouldn't go that far. Maybe.
All right, fair enough. So you guys are excited.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, Spielberg wants to helm a West Side Story. You put this in this news.
Yeah.
Why?
It's weird, dude. like Spielberg doing a musical? I imagine it'd still be a musical.
I would hope.
Like, I don't know. That's just...
It's going to be a gritty crime drama. 2 gangs fighting each other to the death. No music.
I mean, I just feel that it goes back into the whole reboot remake thing to the point where we're going even further back, and it's like
Fuck the 80s. We're going even young.
Exactly.
Older.
Like they're just like really grasping. Like they're running out of so much source material that they're going even further back for the reboots that they want to choose, to the point where they're doing musicals from.
Well, he's done
like the
War of the
50s.
Worlds. Spielberg did War of the Worlds. Now he's doing West Side Story.
That just seems like such a different take for him, though. Like,
I'm trying to think of like something older. I can't think of anything to be witty. Damn it. Yeah, I got
but
nothing.
see, I feel like with that, like War of the Worlds made sense because it's a sci-fi movie with action and explosions and aliens and spaceships and shit like that. Where once you have all these new fangled special effects with the computers and whatnot that you kids love, that like it made sense to make War of the Worlds in this era of all these CG heavy movies. With West Side Story, it's like, is it going to be fucking dubstep music? Like, you know, how are they going to modernize it? Like, I don't get it.
I want to see a Michael Bay West Side Story.
Oh my god.
As they tap dance and explosions happen. And that would just be amazing.
It would be pretty awesome.
Sharks and jets.
Sharks and jets exploding.
They're actual sharks and jets.
Ooh.
It's going to be like Sharknado versus Jets.
Where do I sign up?
Yeah, that's pretty good right there. That's solid. No, I don't know, man. Like, he would have to modernize it. It would be like a dubstep type of thing. Now that you think about it,
it's going to be like fucking Step Up to the Streets.
3D.
yeah, it would be like one of the dance movies. Cause like, what more would you have to this? Because I mean, the original Step Up, when you think about it, is kind of like a type of thing that's similar to that. Where
I never saw any of the Step Up, so I'm going to take your word for it.
I never did either.
I'm in Alex's boat.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know. You put this in there. I didn't think about it. Like, that's kind of weird. All right.
This is exactly what I thought. That's why.
Like, I'm gonna put this in the stories. Fuck it.
You know, it was
And Chris is gonna talk about it.
The news is kind of like this week, so.
All right. Something that's interesting that you actually did put in here was Terminator Genesis plot details.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Back to the Future 2.
In the sense that like it jumps back and forth and relives some of the iconic scenes of the original.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I love the original. I mean, part 2, as I've discussed before, is one of my all-time favorite movies, but part 1 is...
3 was such a better film.
Yeah.
Crazy talk.
Yeah.
No. But 1 is still better than 3.
All right, I'll give you that.
So go ahead, keep going with the plot details
that's
for Genesis.
That's basically all we know is it's going to kind of like revisit a lot of the same iconic moments that we've seen in the Terminator films from the first 2. So they don't like recognizing the third because it was a far superior film than the previous 2.
That's why they don't like recognizing it. Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly why they don't like recognizing it. So yeah, it's going to jump all over the place in different timelines, create an alternate timeline, kind of like what Star Trek did. So you might see these iconic things happen, but they might be played out a little bit differently because this is going to be an alternate timeline, which could kind of be interesting. I don't know.
So it'd just be cool to see what it seems like they have a good idea of what they want to do, which is exciting.
I'm disappointed they're not. I'm still disappointed they're not carrying over from Salvation. I like what they did with the last Terminator movie.
So did I.
I thought it was actually decent. I like Bale. Everybody hates on Bale for it, but like I like Bale's character as John Connor. I thought it was kind of cool what they did with it. I wanted to see a sequel to that movie. They're treating it like it kind of didn't exist, I guess.
Maybe they're going to erase that timeline with this new
I don't know.
time travel and alternate timelines, whatever.
Star Trek really started this. The new Star Trek with the whole alternate timelines thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing because Star Trek did it really well. We'll see if Terminator can pull off the same thing Star Trek did.
I hope so.
All right, I guess that's our show this week. So why don't we talk about how we can reach everybody?
Okay, well, you can follow me on Twitter. My name there is Alex Sandberg, AlexSandberg, or you can email me directly at the website, alex@lostlevel.com. Adam?
I'm also on Twitter. You can follow me on there. It's Adam Howlett, AtomHowlett. And you can email me at our site as well. It's ADAMHOWLETT at lostlevel.com. And Chris?
You can follow me on Twitter. It's twitter.com/calmintensity. I have been updating it a little bit more regularly than I have in the past. We also have a Twitter page for Lost Level. It's twitter.com/thelostlevel. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/lostlevel. And introducing our new YouTube page. We are now on YouTube.
Yes, so if you don't have any sort of podcast player or whatnot, you could just look up our YouTube page and listen to it on there.
Or if you're at work, sitting at your computer, grinding out the days, wanting to listen to something new and fresh, listen to us on YouTube. You can get to that YouTube page through lostlevel.com. In the upper right-hand corner, we have a YouTube link. Click on that link. It'll take you right to our YouTube page. We have a couple episodes on there now. We are going to add all the future episodes, maybe some animations on there. And we're also talking about doing a kind of like a video of us talking because, you know, you want to see our pretty faces. And maybe that'd be kind of cool in the future. We'll see.
You want to see the cats running around the table as we try and knock them off?
That could be entertaining as well. So who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be live, so fuck it. We're doing it live. But yeah, we're on YouTube. Check that out. Give us some ratings. Give us some stars. Give us some likes. Do what you can. Tell a friend about this show. We'd really appreciate it. We're always trying to get new listeners and expand. We'd really appreciate it. So thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.